The anime begins by centering on a charming young woman, who soon reveals herself as a maid given as a gift to a hero. This hero is Arthur, the future heir of an immense fortune. His wife is named Marie. She's the one who stole her own servant, he comments. Her mother, adds the hero, reflecting. Although she seems human, Arthur finds it curious that they managed to create her. He remarks to himself that it's no wonder the Zetes Corporation is the #1 in the country. Even so, he isn't entirely convinced and decides to observe her closely. And, in fact, he was right. Just a few seconds after he begins watching her, something unexpected happens. What surprises him most is not the girl's bold attitude, apparently common in such situations, but the fact that she stole his wife without hesitation. The hero quickly resolves the incident and orders the maid to investigate what happened, assuming she came to check whether the mission was completed. Furthermore, he deduces that he is being spied on from the roof of the building and orders the hidden microphone under the table to be removed. The young man makes it clear that he feels aversion toward people. At that moment, he receives a package with a bouquet of flowers. They are beautiful flowers, the assistant comments, impressed. But suddenly, a knife appears among the flowers. This got serious, thinks the hero, beginning a short monologue. In his mind, he states that people exist only for impure acts, that all they seek is greed, and therefore they end up committing terrible crimes. Because of that, he concluded that he should not trust anyone. For him, what is most loyal is an object, something without feelings, incapable of betrayal, a robot wife. But as he watches her closely, he asks himself, why is she sweating? This young man is Arthur Louis Zetes, heir of the powerful Zetes Corporation and illegitimate son of a family involved in numerous kidnapping attempts, poisonings, and murders, all orchestrated by his own relatives. All this led him to become a misanthrope, someone who avoids and distrusts any human being. Then he questions his assistant about the kind of person who irritates him most. Liars, he answers himself. According to Arthur, when someone lies to him, he devotes himself entirely to ruining that person's life. Meanwhile, the robot servant demonstrates her combat skills, revealing herself as a martial arts champion who has never changed her facial expression. And that strange sweat begins to make sense. Her name is Marie Advance. The girl feels trapped, for she got into this mess because she accepted a deal to pay her parents' debts in exchange for serving that house. She knew nothing else and, even without mana, fears being discovered. The hero, however, proves to be less perceptive than he imagines. He observes the girl with interest, thinking she looks like someone straight out of a soap opera. I'll clean the room, says Marie automatically. Arthur feels glad to hear her speak and, holding her hands, asks if he may call her Marie. The girl only answers monotonously, but he notices the contrast of personalities between them. He is intense, she is cold. Meanwhile, the assistant serves tea and talks with the robot. He explains that the young master suffers attacks almost every day, and that, because of this, he needs a bodyguard, a role that will belong to her. However, Marie proves to be more than an obedient robot. While listening, she begins to prepare bread and comments that she can only eat when the master is in the bath. Then she takes a sandwich from the assistant and runs away. He is terrified. If the truth about the girl is discovered, both will be severely punished. Later, the driver arrives late, and Arthur harshly scolds him, declaring that one cannot trust unpunctual people. In the car, he informs Marie that he will give a lecture at the university and later dine with the son of an associate, a rude man. Marie considers him dangerous but feels safe, for he treats her kindly. Arthur asks her to pretend to be human and accompany him, and she agrees. Wearing her uniform, Marie follows him to the school, where she discovers that her master is an excellent student and a member of the student council. Shortly afterward, some boys bump into her in the corridor. Sorry, they say, but Marie responds mechanically, revealing her robotic nature. She is used to being treated as something worthless. Even her mother rejected her. Arthur appears and defends her, asking the boys if they have a problem with his maid. They apologize and leave. He then comments that her expressionless face is one of her greatest charms. Back at the mansion, we meet Arthur's half-brother, Mr. Maid. Marie wonders if he might be one of those who tried to kill the heir. Maid praises Arthur for being top of his class and calls him an exemplary boy, asking him to relax more. Arthur replies that he isn't as smart as him, since his brother has just returned from abroad. They exchange false compliments and disguised criticisms. It's evident they hate each other. Marie, however, believes the half-brother is a pleasant person. Later, Maid stands up saying he will look for the bathroom. Marie decides to help him and points the way, which frightens him. "Please, don't do that," he asks nervously. She apologizes, and he accepts in a forced manner. "I am a robot," declares Marie directly. Maid approaches, analyzing her, and asks what the purpose of a maid who can't even smile is. She answers that she can fake a smile, but the result is an expression so strange it becomes disturbing. The scene is so bizarre that Maid is left completely traumatized. Later, Arthur watches the night through the window. Lost in confusing memories, he and his father holding hands, while the brother makes faces of hatred. Marie interrupts him, regretting it immediately, for he seems shaken. Arthur asks if she can do something for him. She approaches, and when he asks to lie on her lap, she accepts. He notices that she is firm, rigid, and thinks it is because of metal. But no, it's only her strong muscles. Even so, he feels at peace. He confesses that he never had anyone by his side. He concluded that he had to live alone, since his father chose him, and that makes him feel obliged to bear all the responsibility. Marie says he can count on her, promising to remain by his side always. When they are alone, Marie thinks that, deep down, Arthur is just a normal boy, someone who awakens in her the desire to protect him. However, there is something that bothers her. She realizes he is lying. The next morning, the car arrives ahead of time. A few seconds later, the real vehicle appears. The assistant comments, alarmed, that Arthur's mother's car has been stolen. Arthur hurries and asks Marie to call the police, but the time had already run out. The situation demanded urgency, and the girl seemed aware of it. Unfortunately, Arthur was already tied up, helpless before the situation. The car surrounding them belonged to Maynard, his brother, and he clearly disapproved of the robot's provocation, which seemed to mock his helplessness. That was enough to enrage him deeply. He tells Marie that she should choose her servants better next time. Although, deep down, he knows there will be no next time. Death seemed inevitable. Arthur can't help thinking that he himself is a complete fool. He had made the exact same comment countless times before. Suddenly, a loud noise echoes through the air. It is Marie Evans, or simply Marie. The robot is already on top of the car, and though the vehicle tries to shake her off, Marie is thrown upward. Yet the chase does not stop. Moments later, Arthur is taken to an abandoned place, far from any help. There, Maynard wastes no time with subtleties and speaks cruel words to his brother, with phrases like, "Don't worry about the surname, I'll handle that," showing all his malice. But Arthur remains stubborn, not out of pride, but because of Marie's loss. Given the speed at which everything happened, there was no way she could have survived. He promises revenge, but Maynard only mocks him. How could someone react while dead? Did he intend to play tricks at night? Until then, everyone seemed to smile. But the scene changes when Arthur hears a recording of Maynard detailing his plans to destroy him. Everything had been recorded from the start, video and audio, thanks to a tiny camera disguised as a button on the coat. But Arthur quickly realizes that he no longer has control over it. The files were saved in the cloud, completely beyond his reach. Meanwhile, Maynard vanishes quickly, leaving his brother alone. The other two men don't appear in the recording, and Arthur, remembering their faces, understands it's time to face reality. There's no way to escape. No, not at all, he thinks. I'll die, but let it be fast. They still mock him, asking whether his mother had been his lover, concluding the world would be better without Arthur. He silently agrees. There is no one who truly cares about him. Everyone seems to harbor hatred. An ironic thought crosses his mind about eating a worm, but above all, he feels gratitude for Marie. Knowing her had been a long process, and she represented something no one else could offer. The one they were crying for has arrived, says Marie firmly, and without hesitation, she flies literally straight to face the enemies. Within moments, she drives them away and frees Arthur. Everything seems to be turning out, but the environment hides its own dangers. The warehouse, filled with gasoline, quickly becomes a threat when Farama and one of the men light a cigarette, provoking an immediate reaction. Stairs are blocked, smoke spreads, and Arthur begins to feel dizzy. Marie looks for another way out and finds a small window in the basement. She tells Arthur she will carry him on her shoulders to allow their escape. He asks about her fate, but the girl assures him there's nothing to worry about after all, she is a robot. However, Arthur insists. Marie isn't invincible. She isn't made of unbreakable metal, and yet he refuses to leave her behind. Marie, in turn, must find a way to convince him to go, so she decides to reveal the truth. She confesses that she truly enjoys being with him. Despite her expression always being neutral, she never imagined she could value someone's company, but he is special to her. Arthur acknowledges her words and says she is an amazing person, deserving not to be shaken by dangers. He understands that, being metallic, she only needs a reboot and will remain by his side. Arthur climbs through the window, swearing to save her. But then, Barry collapses, his heart tightening. The truth is painful. Marie is not made of metal, not invincible, she is human, vulnerable. Even so, her feelings for him were genuine. The world darkens. Sometime later, Marie awakens. She is alive. Arthur, relieved, expresses his fear of having lost her. Worried about the lack of a reboot, he explains that he asked Roy for help as soon as he managed to escape. Marie, still weak, asks if she can continue to serve him, and he confirms that she can. However, Arthur pauses, pondering something he wanted to ask. Roy and Marie notice his hesitation, imagining he has already realized something. But Arthur decides to keep his impressions to himself. He concludes that perhaps he only imagined Marie's smile during the fire, caused by the lack of oxygen. For now, he insists that she remain a robot, because that's the appearance everyone expects. He considers it ridiculous to harbor feelings for a machine, and even if she were human, he would not be able to love another person, and Marie only pretends to be a robot to stay by his side. And so, the story ends.